Hi everyone, this is my Marco 600 Southwester. It's a 6 metre boat that we purchased in 2014, so we've had it about 10 years. It's a 2008 model, and I'm going to do a few upgrades today on it. So the main thing we're going to do is replace the GPS. So the GPS that came with it is a 2008 model, so it's obviously quite old. Technology is quite old, and so we're going to upgrade that to a new Garmin unit, and we're going to do a bit of maintenance on the engine as well, replace some fuel filters and some air filters and stuff, so, and just check a few other things out. As well as that, we're also going to look at the trailer. We're going to do a bit of work on the trailer as well. There's a new GPS, so it did come with a GPS, another Garmin unit, but obviously that's 16 years old. Probably the reason why I selected this is a good price point for a 9-inch GPS / fish finder. So first thing we need to do is pull the old GPS out. So this is what we're replacing, a Garmin 450S. So this is about 16 years old, and still works fine. Nothing wrong with it, but obviously quite a small screen, and certainly doesn't have all the features of a new one, which I'm quite looking forward to, the active captain feature on the new Garmin. Anyway, first thing we need to do before we pull this out is get all the existing waypoints off here, top secret stuff, so let me do that off screen. Got the GPS off the holder, so I'll need to drill these 3 rivets out, and I've disconnected the back of this, so that will just pull up. So under here I've taken the back screen off the dash, as you can see, and the cables come down there, so I just need to push those up. So here's the transducer cable down here. I've already pulled it out through there, so now it's basically pulling it all the way back down the side of the boat. It goes up under there all the way along, so I have to pull that all the way back down to the back, and then through the transom into the back of the boat. Next thing to do to remove it. So that one's too hard to pull that transducer cable all the way back, so it's pretty much ready now to pull through the transom. I just need to pull the silicone out and pull that cable through and undo the transducer. I mean, to be fair, it was well installed along there with lots of cable ties and stuff, so that was good to see. Anyway, so we'll get on and pull that transducer out. Well, there we go, one transducer removed. Probably only took about 20 minutes to remove. Pretty simple operation really, and hopefully the new one putting back in should be just as easy. So for mounting the transducer, it comes with this nice little template with basically this edge here flush with the bottom of the boat. So we're just going to mark a couple of holes to drill, and we'll drill some holes in that. This is quite useful that they've made this mounting bracket for doing this sort of thing on the side. So I got this wrapped up last night, which I didn't film much of it, but so I got that silicone sealed up in there. Used this Sally's product, marine silicone, and I've used that before and it works very well. So that's all siliconed up from the outside. Biggest issue I had last night was actually getting the rivets in to hold that up, and the holes are actually drilled at 5mm, so I had to use these 4.8mm rivets, blind rivets. And that's quite hard with my little rivet gun here, but so I had to put a bit of an extension on it and put this piece of wood up against the hull and then squeeze it in, and that was the only way I was able to basically put those 4.8mm rivets in. They were quite tough to actually get in. I think my gun is a little bit small for that type of rivet. Anyway, it's all done now, so the outside is all complete. Everything's all wrapped up here. We now will move into the inside, install the GPS, mount the GPS, and then run the cables, a couple of cables, the battery cable and the cable from this transducer. Don't do it up too tight at this stage. So the existing transducer had a piece of ducting, just protecting it from that piece there out in the open. So I'm just going to reuse that, put it on this cable, the new transducer, again just to protect it while it's not actually hidden from something. You never know, a fishing rod or a scoop or something might, a hook or something might grab up under here. You have your fishing rod on the ground and might put a hole in the cable. So I think it's a good idea that we try and protect it as much as we can. So all the wiring for the boat is actually just run up under this side panel here, and they've got these clips, aluminium, which it looks like they're riveted on every couple hundred mils, and the existing one was up there, and they just had cable ties around all this. So I'll just put new cable ties in there once I got this one. So I'm just going to run the new cable in the same place, really. All protected out of the way. Nothing can harm it up here. Right, so I got the transducer cable pulled up to here. Turn the power on down there and first start up. So another little quick job we're going to do is replace the water separator fuel filter. So external fuel filter that's meant to separate water. To me this is a little bit of a bad design because you have to use a spanner to undo this and to get at the fuel filter. But I noticed on the newer, so they still make this boat, and the newer model, which is pretty much exactly the same, they haven't really changed very much, but they have changed this. They've changed this around so that don't have to use a spanner to get in here to get the fuel filter. Also, I think it's a bad idea, to be fair. It's actually, right, like if you get lots of water in the boat, a little bit of water in the bottom of the boat, then this thing actually gets water all over it and salt water over it, and I think that's a really good idea. As you can see, when I pull this out, it'll be all, the filter itself will be a bit crusty on the outside because it's been exposed to salt water on it. Anyway, they've obviously thought about that in the newer models. They don't do this, so there we go. So as you can see, the top of the housing is all a bit crusty. Probably from the previous owners, because I mean, I wash this out very well with fresh water every time we use it. Now I'm going to have to get, no, I am going to be able to get that off by hand. That's very good. I obviously didn't put that. Now, one thing I certainly like to do when I take these off is I do like to tip the fuel out and see if there's any water or any rust or anything in it, because you've got telltale. So it's definitely time to change that fuel filter. Yep. So I'll show you here. I'll touch you up. So that is actually more than rust, it's actually water. Rusty water. It's not surprising. It's only a little bit, but it's enough. Definitely worth time to change the fuel filter in here. The good thing is, there is actually a secondary filter in the engine, which we'll get to in a moment. So that was certainly well worth changing. It's been about 3 years. The boat actually hasn't done a huge amount of hours in the last few years, so I haven't bothered. If I was doing more hours, then I'd probably do it more, but of course sitting is not good for your engine either. You know, during COVID we haven't actually used the boat a huge amount at all, unfortunately. So this boat has a 100-litre fuel tank under the floor here. But man, this engine is very economical. Very economical. A relatively lightweight aluminium boat, which was very nice compared to my previous boat, which was very heavy. But that's only a few minutes to change that, so that was well worth doing. Next we'll change the fuel filter on the engine itself. So as well as the fuel filter that they call the fuel water separator, which we just replaced, there's another fuel filter on the engine here. Which is this one right here. Now, and this is what it looks like. This also, at the bottom of this, has a sensor, so if your fuel water separator is not working properly and water gets into here, there is some sensors at the bottom of, and obviously water would fill up at the bottom and it sets your alarm off. So this is just a secondary sensor really as well, that if you actually did get water in your fuel, it would save you, and obviously it's beeping, it would tell you and you would stop and the water wouldn't get through the engine because it's right at the bottom. And so this is a 115 horsepower Mercury high pressure injection engine, and it's actually a 1.5 litre, what it works out to be for the 115. Now what I'm going to do is get a torch and look down there. Right, now I can see properly. No, there's no water in there. What I can see is the two little probes, and that sensor's, it's quite a way up, and it's just the shadow of it. So there's no water in there, but you can definitely see the two little probes. Now I'll see if I can get you guys to see that. So that's all good. Now the fuel filter itself, it looks pretty clean, so no bad fuel's been getting up here, but they don't cost very much, and so we've got a new one, and we'll put that in, replace that. Get this hose out of the way. Again, a very simple job that anyone can do. You don't need to get a service agent to do this sort of thing. Done. Fuel filter is replaced. Right, now the other side is where the air filter is. So there is an air filter, only a very little one, obviously out in the water. In the ocean you don't get much dust, so you don't actually need an air filter. And to be fair, it's not much of an air filter, but... So here's the air filter. Yeah, as I say, it's just a bit of mesh, very small. And it goes on this side. So we just need to take 3 little bolts off, and this little air filter just goes in there. So it says it's an air filter, but actually it's this here is the oil tank. So this is it is still a 2-stroke, a high pressure injection 2-stroke, and it injects the oil into the system. So no pre-mixing or anything like that, which is really good. And because it's high pressure direct injection, it does get very good fuel mileage, very similar to a 4-stroke. Of course, Mercury do not make 2-strokes anymore, so they've pretty much gone out. In fact, the only company that was heading in the direction of still doing 2-strokes was Evandrew, and of course Bombardier went under, and they went under. And Yamaha and Mercury actually got together and designed their 4-strokes together, and they are both the largest 2 companies in the world that make outboards. So we can see dirty there. But the next thing on the list is the trailer. So this is a galvanized trailer, and but unfortunately it wasn't washed properly, I guess, by the previous owner, because some of the galvanizing unfortunately has started to deteriorate. Now I've cleaned the outside of these rails up with a bit of rust kill paint, but I can definitely see that inside here there's holes all through the beams, and that's when they galvanize these. They hot dip galvanize them, and you basically want to get the galvanizing inside as well as the outside, so they drill all these holes everywhere. Now clearly there, put my finger up there, or a screwdriver, there is definitely rust coming up from under there. So I need to do something on the inside of these, otherwise they're going to rust from the inside out. Probably most of you used a product like this before, a rust converter. So you paint this on, it converts the rust, and it turns it all black to stop it rusting. What I didn't realise until recently is you can buy this in an aerosol can, which seems like a very good idea. And then I bought these long strip things to put on the aerosol can, so you can put them up inside something and spray. So pull the existing cap off. In fact, the cap looks very similar. Looks exactly the same, and put this on. Now technically when I spray it, if you've seen one of these before, it's got nozzles coming out the side, so you'll put that in and then you spray it and drag it backwards, and it should coat all the inside of the rail. So let's just have a look at this in the rubbish bin here for a second. You can probably see that squirting out all 4 sides, so that's going to work well. So now really let's get up there and feed this in and spray from each of the holes. So there's one up the top here. Just feed that in. So it's not very good viewing angle for viewers here. So there we go. Some simple little maintenance jobs that anyone can do themselves. So thanks everyone for watching, and catch you next time.